A lot of people take my mindset that I have and think it's arrogance and cockiness, but I'm just a dog in my mind where there's no one better than me. I don't give a damn if they've won 10 Mr. Olympics. If I'm preparing for it and you're preparing for it, I'm going to tell you I'm going to win it. Like, I've just always been that confident in myself, so, and that's just what, I mean, as a football player, when you line up on this, when you line up across me, like, I'm finna dog you. That's it. So when I brought that mindset into bodybuilding, people take it a little bit different, and I do want to tell people out there that it's not a personal thing. It's just how I grew up, and it's just how I play the game.
Our next guest is the 2022 Men's Physique Olympia champion and two-time Arnold Classic champion Erin Banks. He won the Men's Physique Olympia title in 2022, overcoming three-time Olympia champion Brandon Hendrickson. A towering presence on the stage, he has gone on to establish himself as one of the most charismatic representatives of the Men's Physique division, with a fashion sense and style that can only be described as one of one. Erin Banks joins us on RXMuscle's Iron Road to the Olympia, powered by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com.
I like that intro. That intro is nice. I like that. That's one to remember for sure.
Well, we do what we can, and we're so glad to have you on. I've been meaning to get you on for quite some time. Obviously, you and I spent some time in Dubai just about a month and a half ago, you competing at the 2024 Dubai Pro. And, one of the biggest reasons that I brought you on is because I wanted to have, this kind of a platform. Obviously, we are now 5 weeks from the Olympia. And, one thing you and I were discussing as you stood there on stage in the athletes meeting with a cowboy hat on, I'm like, you know what? We as a sport don't do enough to market our stars. The faces of each division, the faces of the sports. I wanted to get you on. So let's talk about the Dubai Pro first, because I wanted to know if this was part of your strategy, right? It's one thing, obviously, there was the big payout, and you and I spoke at the Arnold Classic at the airport, and you said you had every intention to do the Dubai Pro. But did you have an intention in mind that this show was going to be about 10 weeks from the Olympia, and you could build that into your prep?
Absolutely. It was literally the plan. And at the Arnold Classic in Ohio, I sat down with Tyler, Bill Sevilla, Ed Tillett, some of the main judges, Becky Clausen. And I just was like saying, hey, like, I just found out the Dubai Pro is at this time, and it's paying this type of money. It's kind of something that I kind of want to do. And prior to all that being said, going back to the Legion Sports Festival, I don't think they wanted me to do that show because it was so close to the Mr. Olympia, So fast forwarding back to that conversation we're having at the Arnold Classic, they were like, it makes sense. It's 10 weeks out. It was actually 11 weeks out after the Dubai Pro for the Olympia. So it only made sense. And, it was, for me personally, more of a comeback, more of a return for placing third at the Mr. Olympia in 2023. So it was definitely a strategic plan going forward. After that conversation with those judges, me and Cuts literally went to the hotel room and started planning our game plan. And fast forward, Dubai Pro happened, and my main thing, man, is just I was talking to Breon too. So, and it's kind of like, I'm a showman. He's a showman. Yeah. You have to have your own identity, your own personality. You know what I mean? So that was just something that, especially when people were talking about the whole cowboy fit, the whole thing, and that's, let me tell this to the world too. That's nothing new. I grew up riding horses. We had 2 horses when I was younger. My dad ended up selling them when we were younger because, again, hay prices and boarding and all that stuff went up. So we ended up departing from that. But it's always been in my life, horseback riding. Me and my sister go horseback riding for her birthday every year. So that's nothing new. I just presented it to the world, and the world just kind of its way, So I'm a fashionable guy. I just do what I do. I try to separate myself from everybody. I don't like to look the same. I don't like to be the same. I don't like to talk the same or walk the same. So I like to separate myself and be different.
Well, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about here. You know how many people are watching this right now and are finding out for the first time that you have a background to do with horses, right? I mean, it's one thing, obviously, people know about your passion as far as your fashion, your pursuits in fashion as a designer, as someone who considers himself, very fashionable in terms of your style. But again, that is a cool, unique wrinkle to you. Now, again, you're a horse enthusiast. You were also a big time 3-sport athlete growing up.
I've had so many friends that were in the league at the time and still in the league right now. Even watching football yesterday, I had so many guys from the hometown like Eric Kendricks, Jalen Johnson from the Bears. What's his name? Now I'm brain farting, but there's so many guys from my city. But me being a 3-sport athlete and knowing the mindset of the kids who come from Fresno, California, it's a dog mentality, man. We don't grow up in perfect places out here. And I kind of made a post yesterday about kind of my life story
with the car.
You know what, man? I literally grew up on the worst street in Fresno, California, which, and like I said, ended up getting blocked off because of the traffic and everything that was going on at that time. And I've seen it. You name it, I can tell you I've seen it physically, like literally right there in front of me. So you can just imagine what a 10-year-old, an 8 to a 10-year-old, what their mind is going through when they see these certain things. So, I was also blessed and to have amazing parents, to move me out of that situation and to the better side of town. And, it's, I still was a horrible student, still was one of those bad kids, just the class clown, just being me. And as you can see, still as an adult, I love to bring energy. I'm passionate about just having fun, smiling, laughing. It's just me. So this was literally the same person in high school and middle school and stuff like that. So, life in Fresno, it's tough, and a lot of kids do not make it out. So I'm fortunate enough to have put those sports into my arsenal because again, it was basketball. And to be honest, basketball was my first love before football happened. So it was basketball, football, running track and field. And to be honest, I didn't run. I hate to run. I love to jump high, triple, and long. That those were my events. And besides that, man, no running for me. The only running for me was conditioning and football. Oh, we got 100 yards. Let's go. That's it. I could do that for 12 times, but to run miles and do all the other stuff, no, that's not up my alley.
So, there are obviously a lot of stories about bodybuilders getting into bodybuilding because they played other sports and maybe they fell in love, with the weight room. They fell in love with the training aspect. And usually in this kind of a case, I would ask you, well, what lessons did you take from those sports that you applied to your bodybuilding career? But your story is a lot bigger because you did grow up, from humble beginnings, obviously in a rough part of Fresno. And, just in terms of doing my prep for this interview, I read some of the stories. I mean, in terms of sleeping in your car, literally seeing dead bodies, things that, growing up would be traumatic for anyone, regardless of age. How did you overcome that? And not just overcome it from the perspective of, making it out of that situation, but I mean, you have your own family, you have kids, you're a father. And obviously that's something that, as we've gotten to know you, we know that you take that role very seriously. You had the support of, loving parents, but, talk to us about just getting out of the situation. And now you as a face of bodybuilding, of the bodybuilding sport, how do you take that upbringing with you and some of the lessons that you learned to overcome that situation that you apply to your career today?
like it took a while to overcome it, because again, after, like I said, my parents moving me to more of the better side of town and better education. I still was that stubborn kid. Literally, when I tell you, I had my desk, my school desk was outside of the classroom from 7th grade to 10th grade, and that's not a lie. And it's I was just one of those kids. It's just I just was so, I don't even know how to explain it. Just crazy, and just wanted to be a class clown. But at the end of the day, like I had to flip that switch, especially when I was in 9th grade. They kicked me off of the football team because I had all F's and one D, and that D was in PE, so that was horrible. So then I'm like, the football coach came and said, man, look, like, you're a phenomenal athlete. We need you. Like, your team needs you. So going into the 10th grade year, my grades got better. I played JV. And then next thing you know, I became really pretty damn good at football. And going into my 11th grade year, was on varsity. So the grades changed. I started getting offers, started getting all these letters from colleges. I'm like, oh, this is different. So, that moment, I think, kind of like changed my life and my mindset towards, just having to overcome it. Because if I wouldn't have changed my life in 9th grade, these Fresno streets would have would have ate me up, you know what I mean? And it wouldn't have been a good road to go down. But I had people like a Tim Murphy, who was my head football coach. I had people like a Ryan Reynolds, who was my linebacker coach. He was my position coach, and I love that man to death, because I mean, he just believed in me. A Greg Connor, who was my quarterback slash special teams coach, which I did play quarterback as a left-hander. Yes, I did. But I thought I was like a fake for a minute. But I had people like that. I had a principal who sat me down, was like, Aaron, like, you are really good. And he was even one of the guys who supported me when I got invited to the US National Army Combine in San Antonio, Texas, in high school. He kind of helped me like fund the trip. So they just believed in me so much. And there I had to turn it around, you know what I mean? So going into my 12th grade year, had a great season. Um, but like, at the end of the day, back then, SATs and ACTs were
Right.
the thing.
That was
They're
the
not the
driving
thing
force. Yeah.
now. Like, I
Yeah.
wish I was in school now doing this, but so again, when UCLA came on campus and they offered me, and literally we're going into the counselor's office, they seen that transcript with that 9th grade.
Yeah.
I mean, I did go do summer school and brought up some of those grades, but they saw that 9th grade year and they were like, man, unfortunately, like, that ACT and the SAT, those numbers have to be up here for you to even clear clearinghouse. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, I had to go to a JUCO, and that kind of stumped it. But at the end of the day, again, life lessons are life lessons. And of course, I went to school in Fresno, and not even letting the outside noise of Fresno bother me as much, because I did stay in town. Again, I was just so focused trying to get a scholarship and be a good athlete. And from there, I went to a D1 AA out in Oklahoma, played there for a year and a half, and just was like, you know what, football is kind of done. Like, I've delivered many hits and blows, and I'm not saying the concussions made me quit, but the banging was just a little too much, because I was just one of those kids who just, like, I'm going to run through you. So football ended. Next thing you know, came back to good old Fresno and just started life. And then I had to come back to the town and start working. So first thing you know, I had applied at a freaking clothing store, and that's where it happened. But prior to that, in 7th grade, I had a buddy who actually was talking to me like 2 months ago. He was like, man, you remember you used to sit outside at the gym in 7th grade and draw clothes all the time? I was like, Damn, I do remember that.
Right,
So,
right.
it's clothing has always been literally my passion. So when I came back to Fresno, I started working at a store called Buckle, and it's a clothing store. It's in the United States. There's stores everywhere, uh, and it just taught me so much. I mean, Buckle has taught me a lot of life lessons and a lot of things to. And I'll tell you one thing that Buckle has taught me is to go for no. Like, I don't care if you tell me no, I'm going to continue to push. You know what I mean? So, a lot of people hear the word no and get discouraged and, they cower. I'm the type of person, you tell me no, I'm going to make you say yes. So, that was one of those lessons, going to Buckle and into life and just living. And it Buckle kind of changed my life, because I also, even as crazy as I was as a kid and as an adult with the energy and stuff like that, I wasn't the type of person to just walk up to people and be personable and hold conversations.
Right,
So
right.
at Buckle, I mean, they kind of forced you to talk to customers as soon as they walk in, like, boom, how we doing today? What we looking for?
Yeah.
Oh, you got these jeans on. Check out the newest ones that we just got. Oh, you don't want jeans? Check out this new shirt. I know you got Nike on. Look, check this Nike shirt out real quick. So it was just one thing after another. Oh, you don't want to buy nothing today? We got a Buckle card. So the next time you come, you'll save 15% off. You see what I'm saying? So it was just, it taught me how to just, move in a certain way. So after Buckle, I was like, really don't want to boss, really want to just do my own thing. And then got into the fashion stylist thing. And so I started going back and forth to LA. And I was with a music group, which I have it actually tattooed right here.
Oh, sick.
I was a stylist. It was not a music group, but it was a group of guys who are artists, pioneers, engineers, producers, actors. Like we had it all. So I was just a stylist of that group. So we go to LA, do these events, go back and forth. Next thing you know, I started picking up celebrity clients. I was working with Safari Samuels for a while. If you don't know who that is, that's Nicki Minaj's ex-boyfriend.
Oh, wow.
Whatever. So was working with him for a long time. Still my best friend. He just was crazy. He messaged me this morning at 3 a.m. like, bro, what are you up for? But he's in Miami. So that's my guy. But I had a mentor who I kind of maneuvered and learned the ropes from. His name is EJ King, and EJ King is probably one of the biggest and best, to me, fashion stylists out there. He styled Chris Brown for years, Tiana Taylor, so many different names. I don't even want to get into his catalog, but his name is EJ King, and he was just one of those mentors. When I was going back and forth to LA, he would tell me the ropes. We'd go to different events, and it just taught me a lot. And I even worked with a guy, Josh Ladette, who was on American Idol for a while, and then he had a couple projects come out. But that was fun. That was like, I was living life, loving it. But coming from being an athlete, coming from doing all that, the partying, the drinking, the smoking, do whatever, like, it caught up to me. So one day I got on the scale and I weighed 268. I said, I know I hold it good, and I can make it look good because of how I dress. So I'm like, okay, we got to figure something out. And then at the same time, I found out I was having a daughter. So I was like, okay, now I really had to take a big step back. And because the main thing was like, bro, I didn't want to be one of those dads that was like, oh, go play outside by yourself. No, I've always wanted to be an active father. I mean, I've said this multiple times, like, I love my father to death, but my dad wasn't that type of a lovey dad, kissy dad. That's me. My dad was the hard dad. Like, let's go. Like, we work like that. That's a cool type of dad. Like, I love it. But at the same time, for me and how I wanted to be with my kids was way more loving. And I'm way more, I'm an emotional father, man. And it gets to me sometimes, but at the end of the day, I know what I do, and I do it for them, and they are my purpose on why I continue to do what I do. I can tell you right now, if I didn't have a daughter, I wouldn't have started working out, and I would not be doing bodybuilding. You know what I mean? So Ended up having a daughter. Started working out at home. Was doing P90X and Insanity at home. I didn't go to the gym for like a year before I lost like 40 pounds. I think I lost 50 pounds in like 4 months. I was like, okay, cool. I still didn't go to the gym, so I started doing calisthenics. So I was doing muscle ups, started doing backflips, handstand push-ups, just the craziest calisthenic stuff that you can even think of. And I definitely do think me going into calisthenics as being an athlete helped me build my back the way it is.
Right.
Because that there's no way you can have a back like mine without having the basic fundamentals of calisthenics. But then when you're pushing it to a whole nother level, and then you start adding the bodybuilding aspect to it, it just kind of took off. So back in 2000, I'm giving you my whole life story right now, but
no, but hey, no, it's good because this is what we want to. This is the kind of platform where we want to get these stories out. I mean, again, things that you're telling us right now, I feel as if people watching this are learning this for the first time about you. So this is all interconnected. Look, there is your upbringing, there is your background as an athlete, there is sort of that period of life where you didn't know where you're going, you didn't have much direction, and then all of a sudden it's like things start to click. You had a support system, your family within your high school, and then fast forward to now. You discover, and I hate the whole like internet guru talk, but you discover your why, right? I mean, obviously your kids, the ultimate driving force. I mean, and you having to reshape your focus to now not only saying to yourself, okay, look, I'm overweight, and the kind of lifestyle that I'm living right now, it's the kind of quality of time that I want to spend with my kids, the kind of dad that I want to be. But then also, there comes a point where you're just like, what kind of an example am I setting for my kids? Right.
Absolutely.
There is the part of you want your kids to be proud of you for everything that it is that you bring to them. So that's why I'm glad that you're telling us all. So let's get to the point where, you obviously had to do what you had to do to lose the weight. Right. And then you finally convince yourself to go to the gym. I want to know the bridge between you finally going to the gym and then in short order, you stepping on a stage, and then short order after that, becoming one of the elite men's physique pros in the IFBB.
I think this is one of the craziest stories to date ever. I've always been in the gym, like I said, being an athlete, and when I was overweight, it just kind of made me a little insecure about myself because I grew up with a six pack, grew up being fast, jumping high, and like, so at the point after I lost the weight, went to start doing the calisthenics stuff, I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready for the gym, but I think I was a little intimidated by the gym just because of what I would hear about bodybuilding and all this other stuff. And
hold on, let me stop you there. You say intimidation, right? Okay, so intimidation for most people would come off as someone who's very overweight, someone that is weak, really, is going to go in there and kind of think to themselves, all right, you're going to have these people, heaving up heavy weights, so I'm going to do the wall walk. You are, again, a career athlete.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be a little bit more elaborate in terms of how you felt intimidation going into the gym.
So intimidated because it was more of a body shame thing for me, because even as I lost that weight, I mean, I still wasn't ripped. And to be honest, I was smaller, I didn't have nowhere near the size muscle that I had, So when I would see some of the guys, I mean, Fresno is a huge bodybuilding community. The gyms are pretty damn big here. And, when you would see and know who works out and goes to the gym. So when I would see those people, I'm like, damn, them dudes work out. So, and I'm an athlete. Like, I know I can do flips and all this other crazy stuff, but they do something different because, and the thing is like, I was always not the strongest, but I always I would say look better than most people because of my structure. And we're going to get into my structure later on.
Yes.
So the thing is, man, it was just a lot of people that it was just, like I said, the body shame, the not being in a gym for X amount of years, So all that just played a huge part into just me being intimidated by going into the gym. And then when I went into the gym, it was just more of like, oh, okay, it wasn't what I thought it was. It's the gym. Everybody's in here doing everything. There's so many different body shapes and sizes. Oh, I'm good. Whatever. So started the gym, man, and just started working out and really started to build my physique, you know, going based off of my college workout plan and my college meal plan that I went back to kind of get my body back into shape. And, you know, one day I was literally in the gym in 2018. I was in the gym in 2018. I was feeling myself. I was feeling myself. So there's this mirror in one of the separate rooms. And I'm like, let me be bold. Let me be bold. I took my shirt off in the front of the mirror. I'm like, okay, like my abs are showing. I'm good. I'm good. And then this little lady came in and I was like, oh, let me put my shirt on. She was like, do you compete? I was like, what's that? She was like, are you do you bodybuild? I said, hell no. No, that's not me. That is not me. I don't even know. That is not it. She was like, why not? I was like, because first of all, I'm not getting on stage in a thong. No disrespect to the guys in the open and classic, power to you, but my kids are not going to see me on stage in a thong. It's just not it. She was like, you are so stupid. And then she was like, you could actually get on stage in board shorts. So it kind of caught my attention. I said, what you mean board shorts? So I knew, again, I'm going to tell you right now, in 2018, I knew nothing about bodybuilding. I knew nothing about the divisions. I knew nothing about nothing. I didn't know who a Tyler Mannion is, a Jay. I didn't know those guys. I didn't know a Brandon Hitt. I didn't know nobody besides a Ronnie Coleman and a Jay Cutler. That's the only two people I knew. You know, so she was like, no, you can compete with board shorts. So I was like, oh, let me see. So she showed me. And I was like, oh, I can probably do that. Like, but bodybuilding is not my thing. I'm not the guy who's gonna sit in the mirror and flex and grunt and do all this crazy stuff. And that's what I had thought about bodybuilding before I got into it. So she bugged me. And I'm gonna say her name. Her name is Terry Reeves, and she actually runs natural bodybuilding shows here in Fresno. And she literally begged me for a whole year, 2018 to 2019. Like, are you gonna compete yet? You're still looking good. You got time. It was every day. And I'm like, this lady would not stop bugging me. Please stop bugging me. So next thing you know, I was like, you know what? Forget it. Like, no, what made me say that was
to get her off your back.
No, well, kind of. But I actually ended up watching the 2018 Mr. Olympia men's physique.
Wow.
And that's, I think, the year when that's Brandon won. That's
the year that he dethroned Jeremy Buendia.
Yeah. So when that happened, I'm like, oh, this is men's. And I'm gonna say this, and this is as respectfully as I'm gonna say this. And there's people in my city who know I've said this. There's people around me who know I've said this. I literally told my coach. I told my sisters. I told even Terry. I've told. I don't know if you guys remember George Jackson and Steve O'Brien. If those names ring a bell, but I said I can beat those dudes. Literally in 2018. Like, that is not a lie. That's nothing. That's how I've always been a confident person. You know what I mean? So that's when I decided. I was like, okay, whatever, let's go. So I ended up hiring a local coach here in Fresno, and it sucked. You know, tilapia and asparagus every day was just not. I did not think that was the game. I did not know anything about bodybuilding. And I mean, my body got to a point to where I was like, okay, it looks really good, but this dieting stuff, it sucks.
Well, I mean, you had to diet in a sense. I mean, when you, again, during your football career, during your college career, I mean, you had to diet in some way, shape, or form. I mean, you couldn't go out and eat pizza and ice cream all the time. So yeah,
we can still go get Taco Bell.
Right. But you still at least had a basis of fundamentals for the concept of dieting. So that had to help you, right? I mean, I know obviously there is last few weeks or whatever, but that you have to really restrict, but at least you had some sort of a concept going into your first prep, no?
But that's the thing. And I know you asked this question earlier, like what kind of prepared you like with these sports? And bro, football, basketball, track and field, those are sports of consistency and discipline. Like
Right.
when we're talking about track and field from the starting point, the explosion at that third phase, that second phase, like that is precise like discipline and consistency. Like you cannot mess up and just think you're just gonna be X, Y, and Z. So everything that I gathered as a football player, I kind of just put that same mindset into bodybuilding.
Right.
And we'll kind of talk about that mindset of a football player versus a bodybuilder a little bit later, because I think a lot of people, well, let's talk about it right now, because a
Yeah.
lot of people take my mindset that I have and think it's arrogance and cockiness. But I'm just a dog in my mind where there's no one better than me. I don't give a damn if they've won 10 Mr. Olympias. If I'm preparing for it and you're preparing for it, I'm going to tell you I'm going to win it. Like I've just always been that confident in myself, you know. So and that's just what I mean as a football player. When you line up on this, when you line up across me, like I'm finna dog you. That's it. So when I brought that mindset into bodybuilding, people take it a little bit different. And I do want to tell people out there that it's not a personal thing. It's just how I grew up, and it's just how I play the game, you know. And if I have to be as that confident in myself, that's what I'm going to do to keep myself motivated. You know what I mean? So
So
it's
let's go into that angle, right? Because if you bring that football player mentality, right? And look, what you're saying is for people not to take it the wrong way. And what I would tell you is, be unapologetic about it, because I feel as if, again, with this sport, right? And
but
I've,
see,
I've,
you
lo-
can't.
I've long said
But here's the thing, though.
I've long said
I've
this, that
been very unapologetic about it.
no,
But
not just you. And I say this for all bodybuilders that come in and feel as if they need to put their personality aside. And I say to myself, why? Look, Nick Walker, if you see the video of Nick Walker walking onto the stage this past New York Pro, you see him clearly mouthing the words, "This is my house." He's getting the crowd into it. And I say to myself, bodybuilding needs that. Bodybuilding needs somebody with a personality
see,
to come in and show that personality. And you have
I
that.
gotta tell you this, man. That when it comes to men's physique, they don't. It's unfortunately, it's not like that, and it is. I wish it was, because I would be the biggest shit talker. Like, and I would go to another level of it. But the thing is I've even just the minimum that they've gotten from me, and since 2021, it's frowned upon. It's frowned upon, unfortunately. And, you know, it kind of made me step back and kind of be like, you know what? Let me just do my thing, get on stage, get off stage. Let's talk, and let me just get my shit back and let's go. Like that's where it took my mindset. But don't get me wrong, I'm still that dog right here, but I'm just not presenting it to the I ain't even gonna say that word, but I'm not gonna present it to people who don't understand that type of competitiveness. Like, you know, it's hard, you know, and I've gotten a lot of slack from me being a shit talker, or me telling the world that I'm going to win the Olympia and then go win it. You know, me telling people I'm going to win a show and then go win a show. Me telling people I'm going to go win the Arnold and go win the Arnold. Me saying I'm going to go win the Mr. Olympia my first year, but play second, and then the following year go and win it. I told you what I'm going to do, and I've done it. People don't like that, and you know, it's like I said, I've had to take a step back, which is totally fine, because I've grown as a man. I've grown more professionally, because I do have a lot of professional things that are happening right now in my life, that I do need to take that step back from the controversy and the tension and all that. So, you know, it's like a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. But you know, I just learned how to move, you know.
See,
And
what? Don't take me the wrong way. What I'm not advocating is for you, for Brandon, for Chiron to go and talk smack to each other on stage. I'm not saying that. What I am saying
Yeah.
is this.
But that's the thing. We don't really do. We don't.
No,
really do
right.
that.
And I was going to get to that as well because I feel as if there's a lot more peace right now within the division. But what I am saying is, look, between you and I'm talking about the top end, the elite cross of the men's physique division. Look, you all have your own big time brands, right? Like you have obviously again, you have the personality, you have the fashion sense, everything that we've discussed. Chiron has a very unique look, right? A very marketable look, very presentable on stage, in terms of, just what he brings as far as his look, in terms of his presentation, someone like a Brandon, right? Same deal. I mean, again, Brandon is a great champion in his own right, but he is one of those that, again, good representative of the sport, has his own personality, unique personality. Like even Jeremy, right? I mean, for whatever, love him or hate him, the guy had something very unique in terms of his personality. Right. And I feel as if there is a positive method in terms of, delivering that kind of whatever it is that in terms of your personality, conveying it on stage in a way where, again, look, there is a fine line between smack talking, whatever the case. We don't need that. Right. You just need, all right, again, there's a convergence of what you all bring to the stage, which in my opinion makes it very exciting. And look, and again, Erin, this is the reason that I have you on this, because generally speaking, and I blame myself, I blame the media, I blame all of us really, in a sense, where bodybuilding media, bodybuilding in terms of coverage, what does it boil down to? It's boiled down to coverage of 8 to 12 open class guys plus 2 or 3 classic physique guys. And if somebody breaks a fingernail, that's the video that's going to get, the viral views. But these kind of platforms, right, where again, we're trying to get your story, trying to get your perspective, your mindset, as far as you being a champion, you being a representative of the sport. This is the kind of stuff that has kind of taken a back seat to the coverage, right? And so that's kind of where I'm going with this. But I want to go back to 2022, because again, we talked about sort of like the break speed rate at which you ascended from.
Well, we got to start. We got to go back. We got to go back to.
We got to go back. Okay, here we go.
Until we started. Since we started, so got a coach locally.
Right.
Did my first show in 2019 of April. Prep for like maybe 4 months, 5 months. Ended up doing the Fresno Classic, my first show ever. I only registered for True Novice, one True Novice. And the judges were like, "So you're not doing open?" I was like, "I just won. I got nationally qualified." They were like, no, you didn't get nationally qualified because you only did True Novice. You have to do open to get nationally qualified." So I'm like, okay, that's a bummer. I don't even think I want to compete anymore. So they were like, "No, you have to compete. You have a crazy shape." So literally that same night, saw George Jackson, Steve O'Brien. Steve O'Brien was the head judge, and George Jackson was the promoter of Fresno Classic at the time. I literally told them in 2019, after that show, I will be the next men's physique Mr. Olympia. They looked at me like, "That's bold. That's bold." So literally, they were like, "You need to do the next show, Contra Costa." 2 weeks later, open, went and won that. Got nationally qualified. 4 weeks after that, I did USA Championships in Las Vegas to get my pro card. Placed second, got my pro card in 3.5 months time frame of competing as an amateur. Said, "Okay, I'm done. I'm a pro. I'm good. I don't need to do anything else." And next thing you know, as I'm like on this little vacation, just lollygagging, COVID happened. So next thing you know, in 2020, I got out of shape again. So I got up to like 257. I was eating McDonald's, burritos, enchiladas, you name it. Like I was just living my life because again, I had my kids. It was COVID. We was just living life.
Everybody shut down, right?
So at another thing happened, and then I had a guy that was in the city that I live in. He was like, "Man, you should like try to do something with that pro card." So I'm like, I don't know, probably not. He's like, "No, there's actually a private gym that's open right now where you could actually train and kind of get ready for it." So
I was just going to ask you if you had any open gyms in your area.
Yeah. So at the time, I had cut the first coach off and started shopping around for coaches. So the first pro coach I hit was Omar Ventura. So I hit him. I said, hey, yo, you taking any new pros? And he was like, yeah, send me your check-ins. At the time, I'm still don't know what the hell a check-in is. I don't. So, he was like, yeah, just send me your front and your back shot. And I'm like, okay. Bro, I sent him a front and back shot. That fool didn't even freaking respond to me. Like,
no way. Like, just
no
flat out.
Bro, left me on red. It said red and no response.
No way.
I was like, okay. A couple days went by. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna wait. So next thing you know, I knew of Cuts because Cuts saw me at my first couple shows and at national and when I went pro. Yeah. So I hit Cuts. I said, yo, you taking on any new pros? He's like, yeah, send me a check-in. So I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't know if it kind of took me a couple hours to send the check-in. I'm like, he gonna tell me no, and then I'm gonna really not compete. So I sent those check-ins. He's like, damn, bro, you were out of shape. I said, I know, and mark my words. I mean, Cuz has this message. I still have it screenshotted. I said, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm different than any other athlete that you have. I will get you a Mr. Olympia title, and I will get you an Arnold Classic title. And from there, history wrote itself. So we started working. Did my first pro show in Houston, placed second. First pro show, second pro show. I think it was Wasatch Warrior, placed second. Next show after that was Pittsburgh Pro, going with Raymond and Chiron, placed third. And that was the show where I knew I belonged. And that's when I just let loose on everything. I stopped working. I really put everything into bodybuilding. And from there, it was go time. The show after that was the third biggest show in the world. I ended up winning that as a rookie, which no one has done, was the New York Pro. And after that, I'm like, oh, I'm good at this sport. Like, me personally, I'm proud of myself because I'm beating Olympians. I'm winning I'm just won the third biggest show in the world as a rookie. Like I'm on a high horse. So at the same time, I'm popping, I'm on social media, like ain't nobody finna beat me. Like this is my lane. So going into the Mr. Olympia, I knew I was winning it, and that was my first year. And nobody thought I was gonna even play second, bro. They had me maybe in the top 10. They didn't even have me. A lot of people didn't even have me in the top 10 going into my first Olympia. So going into my first Olympia, I placed second. That kind of just shocked the world. Just like, who the hell is this dude? And that just put me on pace. Right from that Olympia, just put me on pace for everything that's happening right now. Next thing you know, we're like, you know what? We're gonna sign up for the freaking Arnold Classic. And they weren't even gonna accept me at the Arnold Classic. Because there's the guy who runs it is Lloyd, who kind of picks the athletes and stuff. Yeah. And I had sent the email. I was like, man, I want to compete at the not the Mr. Olympia, but the Arnold Classic. Yeah,
the Arnold Classic.
And he was like, oh, okay, let me look into the information or whatever. But he's telling his team, and he ended up telling me the story afterwards. But he ended up telling me, like, who the hell is this Erin Banks dude? And why do you think he could just compete at the Arnold Classic? They were like, no, he just placed second at the Mr. Olympia. So going forward, I ended up doing the Arnold Classic and literally won my first Arnold Classic right off the bat. So that felt really amazing. And then was that the same
a week
year?
Later, you were Boston.
A week later, I went to the Boston Pro. And again, everybody always asks, like, man, why are you competing? Why are you competing? I'm a competitor, and if the money is right, it's a go. So it's always gonna be a go if the money's right and it makes sense for me. So again, it was a $10,000 check. Again, I got kids to feed, so yeah, that we're gonna make that happen.
So that was obviously your landmark year, and there comes a point where there's a progression, right? Obviously, you win your first pro show, the New York Pro, and at that point, you say to yourself, "All right, I've arrived," right? And you validated to yourself, knowing that you just won arguably the third biggest pro show. You hung in with a former Mr. Olympia at Pittsburgh, and now finally, fast forward, you win the Arnold. You validate yourself as a top competitor, obviously to the previous Olympia, but now heading into that 2022 Olympia, against Brandon being the 3-time champion, you know in yourself, all right, you've done everything to show yourself as a true top tier Olympia title contender.
Yeah.
Take us through that prep. Take us through that journey into that Olympia and everything that came along with it, knowing yourself, you now have as good a shot as anyone to dethrone the 3-time champion.
Well, even just starting off with the mindset was always, I can beat these guys anyway. So it never was no pressure in that area. So it was just all down to what me and Cuts was going to do going into the show. So we literally, after winning the New York Pro, we kind of took, I think, 3 weeks off, 4 weeks, one of those, and then was really going heavily into the Mr. Olympia. Going into it, yeah, there was some nerves and stuff like that, because again, this is your first Mr. Olympia. Like, I don't know what to expect. I don't even know where to go, who to talk to. And at the same time, and I'm gonna say this, and till this day, because this will be my 4th Mr. Olympia, I still don't know everything about bodybuilding. Like, I am not like, you can't come to me and be like, so what happens this at the Mr. Olympia? I don't know, because I've always just been locked in on prepping, tanning, getting on stage, getting off stage, winning, placing second, placing third, getting off stage, and going home. I've always been in that top spotlight, to where I'd never really grasped the learning part of experiencing the Mr. Olympia. So as far as just going into it, man, we really tried to, because ever since I joined this industry, well, I would say just the IFBB, when I went pro, was the main feedback every show: grow your chest, grow your chest, grow your chest, grow your chest, grow your chest. It was every show. And it's still today, like even in Dubai, they were like, make sure your chest is fuller. I'm like, how much fuller can I get? You know what I mean? So, making sure my chest is fuller, conditioning. And we brought a pretty good package going into the 2022 Mr. Olympia. And like I said, the nerves was going, and I knew Brandon was one of those guys who Brandon is Brandon, besides me and him having what we've had, you still kind of got to respect him in a sense for what he's brought to the sport and what he's done already. So I'm looking backstage. I'm at the Mr. Olympia. I'm like, oh damn, like this is big. Like, so the butterflies are going, we're good, we're getting ready, and then I see Brandon take like his shirt off. I'm like, oh well, he's ready. Like, he's ready. I'm not really looking at myself backstage, because I can't see myself, and people didn't really. I'm gonna tell you right now, people really did not care about me at 2022 Mr. Olympia. They didn't. Like, they just knew I was the new guy, and it wasn't no hype. Like, I didn't have no hype. Like, oh, he finna come in or do this. No, it was none of that. So, once I think, well, that was 2021, but 2022,
22, yeah,
22. Let me take that back. But 22, okay, everybody was on high alert. Everybody was on high alert.
You came in on a high, yeah.
It was like, okay, Erin versus Brandon. So they tried to build that up, and to be honest, man, that prep was probably one of the easiest preps that I've had with Cuts, and we peaked amazing. The prep was phenomenal. Cardio was low. We probably was doing 25 minutes of fasted cardio every morning. Nothing crazy. And then show day, it was, he took his shirt off again, and I was like, damn, like, okay, there's gonna be a battle. And at the same time, Cuts already told me, he's like, bro, ain't nobody beating this package. You look crazy. So I'm already locked in my mind that I don't care what anybody's look like. But when you get backstage and start looking at these guys, you're like, okay, he's on. Oh shit, like, that boy's built. So, I knew it was gonna be a me and Brandon show. And then when we did even first call outs happened, and literally every judge was just staring at me. Like it was just everybody was staring at me. And I knew from there they were gonna send us back. And they were like, okay, Brandon and Erin go back. I was like, oh, let's go. So at that point, again, I still don't know how they judge like the points and stuff like that. So I didn't know who was winning, and how. I know they like to make it suspenseful and dramatic and stuff like that. So when I knew it was a wrap, when they both brought me and Brandon back out, and I just hit my front pose. I'm not gonna say this, but I hit my front pose. I looked at the judges. They said turn to the back. I hit my back pose, and I already knew it was a wrap, because it was like he was just taking his time. He wasn't, I don't know what was going through his mind, but I just knew right there in the body language of the judges, how they were looking, like I knew it was mine. So when finals came, you know, and everybody even talk about this stupid finals thing, is like like because I don't know if you've seen it, but in 2022, when they called me and Brandon to the middle, right? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. And Brandon stepped into the winner's circle, right?
No,
when they called,
I was gonna fast forward too, because I remember when you got your name called. Like we were sitting in the media row, and I had my photographer. Literally, I'm like, "Yo, you have to get the reaction shot." So the second we saw you pump your fist and literally let out this big like "woo," like I literally got that picture. Yeah. We posted that right on our Instagram. Like a minute later, I remember the caption was like "the thrill of victory" or whatever like that. So yeah, tell us about that story. So you said Brandon.
So literally, you know, Bob calls me and Brandon out, and me personally, I thought we were just standing back behind the winner box. You see, so there's in the line, right? So they got 5th, 4th, 3rd,
right? Yeah.
And you got that other X on this side. So as he called us out to the middle, Brandon just stepped into the winner circle, and I just stepped back and I just looked at Bob, and I was just for me, I was just waiting for Bob to call my name, because one, I think it was a little bit of an arrogance type of thing, or I don't know if he thought it was confident that he won it, but he ended up stepping in the winner circle and then having to move over. I wouldn't personally do that because that would destroy someone's ego if you just thought all of a sudden you just automatically won and then you got to move over. So the thing is, I just looked at Bob and I just waited for Bob to call my name, and when Bob called my name, I don't even know where my soul went. Like I knew my body, and the reaction was just, it was just like, man, I freaking did it. Like my 2nd year as a pro, I did it. I've only been competing for 2.5 years. I did it. Like it was just a surreal moment for me, you know, and you know, it was just a blessing, man. It was literally a blessing. So after that, Mr. Olympia, you know, it was, again, I feel like nobody can beat me at this point. I feel like I'm gonna do some damage in the league right now. So again, went back to the Arnold Classic and repeated.
Right.
You know, so going into the Arnold, again, feedback, even going to the road to the Arnold with JM, make sure you come full. Make sure that chest is up. And even that Arnold, like my chest was pretty damn full. So, you know, but I did lose some of the conditioning in the morning show, but then we tightened down for the night show, which was just, that was it. That was just the nail in the coffin. So winning that second Arnold was it was an achievement for me that I didn't think that I was going to continue to try to get more Arnolds. I just knew that first Arnold was just my everything, just because Arnold presented me the trophy and stuff like
exactly
that.
Yeah.
So that was just like everything for me. And then everyone's like, bro, you're not competing. Going fast forwarding to now, like, bro, you're not competing in the Arnold Classic. Like, to be honest, personally, moving forward, it doesn't make sense for me, especially when you have shows like the Dubai Pro, who's paying $40,000, and next year they're talking about it's supposed to be $80,000. Like, why would I do any other show? Like, that
Right.
doesn't make sense. So, I mean, it's if people start raising money, maybe a lot of the top athletes would do more shows and bump those numbers down from 68 athletes competing at the Mr. Olympia to 40. Like, so it's certain things, man, that I strategically do when it comes to doing a show. You know what I mean? So
So I want to go back to the Dubai Pro only because when you and I spoke again at the Arnold Classic, we're literally at the airport having this conversation. At that period of time, there seemed to be an understanding that it wasn't just going to be you, that this was going to be sort of a quasi Olympia. You were going to have some of the real big names competing at the show. And it really, I don't know how much is reality, how much is truth, but ultimately speaking, you were the headliner of the show. And, again, before we went live, we were kind of talking about how,
yeah,
again, with your height and your structure, generally speaking, really at any show, at any lineup, you're going to stand out. This
yeah,
show, again, with the disparity between you and the rest of the field, you stood out even more. Again, we talked about the function of this show as part of your overall prep. Forget about the prize money, forget about the fact that you got to go to Dubai, meet a whole new set of fans,
yeah.
global audience and all that. But as far as, the feedback you got from the judges, and then you now apply that to your prep now, 10 weeks between two shows, the idea to come in fuller. This division, in my opinion, has become at the top end, sort of like how men's open bodybuilding has become. You have so much disparity at the top, right? In the sense that, like, variety of physiques. You have your tall, you have your short, you have your different shapes, you have
Yeah,
your mini bodybuilders like Chiron, you have someone
yeah.
like yourself. Then you have the champion Ryan Terry. Put your analyst hat on. How is this division judged at the very, very top? And why did Ryan Terry, amongst, again, a top end quality lineup such as what we had at the last Olympia, what allowed Ryan Terry to win amongst you, amongst the Brandons, amongst the Chirons of the world?
I believe so. First, it's when men's physique is judged. I think the number one thing is structure. Two is
Right.
conditioning. Three, I mean, how full you are. And four, I think the presentation of how you present it. You know what I mean? So, to be honest, Ryan won the Mr. Olympia last year based off of he has the men's physique structure. He's always have. He's been doing this for 12 years or however many years. He has that. He's always been that poster child for men's physique. Always pretty boy, uh, got a great set of abs. But I think what catapulted him above me and Brandon last year was one, his improvements in his back, his conditioning was out of this world, and he just came full all the way across the board. He was balanced out of in all areas, versus Brandon, he may have been holding water in his back. Me, not as conditioned, was pinching my back in my presentation. So at the top of the tree, I can have the best structure in the world. But if I'm off, and you got people like Ryan Terry who's been biting at the bit for so long and who's A1 that day, he's going to win. He's going to win. I believe if I was 100%, no one will win. No one will win. But again, I was not at 100%, and Ryan Terry was like, did his thing, and congratulations to him. But again, going forward into the show with just the things that the judges have been looking for this year and giving me feedback on is I have to come conditioned, and when I
Mhm.
come conditioned, I don't think a lot of people are going to beat me,
But
and
see,
this year will be
let's
very different.
so and again, expanding off your definition of the criteria of judging at that elite level of men's physique. Again, you have musculature, you have conditioning, but in your case, and again, fair or unfair, given your height, there is an element of flow. right? There is an element of flow because you're having to put together a lot of different elements together and balancing it in
Yeah.
terms in the overall scope of your presentation. Um, how do you put that together and what do you have to focus on, right? Do you have to focus on nails as sharp conditioning? Do you have to focus in on, you know, again, as JM would tell you, to bring in a little bit fuller with the chest to have a little bit more of that pop, given your height and given the illusion that you create on stage, especially standing amongst, you know, again, that top end, which includes again, I'm talking about guys coming out of the woodwork now. You have the likes of, you know, Diogo, who you beat in Boston, Emmanuel Hunter. You're dealing with your height with so many varying shapes and physiques. What do you need
Yeah.
if you had to pick one, the level of conditioning or the fullness? Which one would you key in on most in the next 5 weeks?
The conditioning.
Hmm.
Because you got to understand the feedback from Dubai was conditioning. I know I'm going to be full. We've improved already, and the muscle is built. I mean, if you come in flat, that's something on the coach or whatever the case may be. We've already put in the work on building the top shelf to where it just looks dense. So I think nothing that I could do is nothing better than just bringing the conditioning. The conditioning is going to be key at this show. Very key. Because I know I have the size. I know I'm bigger than all these guys. I know my back's better than all these guys. Like, so there's the thing is, I don't think I've ever been the best conditioning guy in this division. So when I add that variable, I think it's going to be pretty insane.
You know, I look at, I'm going to make a statement. Tell me if you agree or if I'm off base about this. There's almost a phrase, and it's kind of used very loosely, right? When somebody says, "Oh, you should move up to classic physique," or "You should move up to men's open." The contention that I have is with the framing of that statement, because I feel as if men's physique and, for the matter, classic physique are two uniquely individual entities. Whereas, again, 212, you could say, all right, that is open bodybuilding. Those two are related. Obviously, there is a height differential, a weight differential, but those two are interrelated. And
Yep.
the reason I bring that up is because, again, when the conversation of you, the conversation of Chiron, um, and to an extent, Brandon as well. Again, we're talking about legs, we're talking about overall
Yeah.
size. There seems to be some blurred lines as far as, oh, well, you should consider a move to classic physique, or man, you know, he doesn't really fit in this division. He should go to the open or whatever like that. And
I think
I've always kind of looked at that as, you know, we're talking about two completely different entities, in the sense that, again, I feel as if men's physique has a very unique look. It is a different presentation, yes, but it's a unique look. Classic physique is a unique look. Men's open class is a different beast altogether. Where do you stand on that?
um to be honest, like it is what it is. And the thing is about that statement, for some of the men's physique guys, I see it. I understand why they tell some of the guys to move up, because you got to understand, when it comes to muscle maturity and density and mass on certain athletes,
Yes.
and that illusion of the muscle could put you in that tier of the classic physique look. And some of the guys that you've named have that type of muscle to where they can go do classic physique. Versus, I would say, me, I don't think I have the amount of that type of muscle maturity yet, nor density to be in classic physique. My shoulders, yeah, chest, back, everything. I don't think it's classic physique at all yet. So when you get a certain size and when your shape starts shaping like a classic physique, then that term "you should move up" makes sense.
Do you ever look at your own physique and say to yourself, all right, you know what? I've embraced men's physique, because again, you yourself are still so new to this sport. And I think to
Yeah.
myself, because I've only been in this bodybuilding sport since 2014, and we're 10 years into it, I'm still learning things about
And
the sport. You being
yeah,
catapulted right in as a competitor and eventually as a champion, obviously you're still learning things. But as you have grown to see the other divisions, right? And what the classic physique, I mean, again, the history lesson is classic physique became an Olympia division in 2016. And the argument was that there needs to be another men's division, something between men's physique and the bodybuilding divisions, right? That there needs to be something that is more of an homage to the golden era, that accommodates for, again, what we've seen now classic physique become, right? Again, with the taller, wider structures. But you, again, and I think why people will bring it up for you is because of your waist, your proportions, obviously the frame. But are you at a point now where you say to yourself, again, not only just as a face of the division, but given your physique, that you've embraced the look of men's physique kind of, again, as a unique entity, something that you found a home in? And again, this is sort of what you want to pursue for the years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I've definitely embraced men's physique, and I think I am men's physique. So I've created a logo kind of like based off of my silhouette that I have on hats. I don't even know where it's at, but let me see. So I made this silhouette logo, which is me.
Nice.
And I just feel that my structure is men's physique. So, people ask me all the time, are you going to classic? Are you moving to classic? And my answer is yes, I will eventually move to classic. And not just do classic. I want to probably just do one show and just to get my feet wet. But that's it. I'm just gonna do classic once. I'm gonna build one thing I have to do is build my legs to match my upper body when it comes to being that classic look. But that won't be anytime soon. It'll probably be 3 or 4 years down the road.
So we are breaking some news here. Erin Banks will eventually go to the classic physique division. One thing that I have, again, we talk about the men's physique division, and over the course of the years, and again, we almost lose sight of the fact of how young this division is, right? I mean, this division is now going to be competing, and I believe it's only 12th Olympia. There have only been 6 champions, you being one of them. It's been a lot of drama amongst you men's physique competitors. I mean, there have been so many different chapters upon chapters of drama. I mean, I go back to, obviously, look, the 2014 class that had Jeremy Buendia, Siddique Hadzovic, Jason Poston, and there was so much bickering back then. And then you go back to 2017, I believe it was the press conference where, remember, the press conference used to just be men's open class, and then eventually started accommodating the other divisions. I remember Jeremy Buendia was sitting on the dais, and then there was sort of like an open mic. George Brown takes the open mic.
I actually saw that.
Yeah, that became sort of like the highlight or whatever, low light, whatever you want to call it, whatever perspective you look at it. There's been so much online bickering. I mean, again, we mentioned the names Brandon Hendrickson, Jeremy Buendia. You yourself have found yourself in the middle of some of the drama, but now all of a sudden there seems to be peace, or maybe I haven't been.
I mean, I wouldn't say peace. I wouldn't say peace.
Where are we right now? Or is there a state of peace? Is there a state of calm at least? Is there a ceasefire? Where are we at right now in the men's physique drama?
With me, there's no drama. I'm at peace. I don't care if you talk about me. I don't care what you do, but I'm not engaging in none of it. But there's guys going back and forth right now. I mean, it's I don't think it's anyone who's a top tier athlete, but I mean, there's definitely talk out there amongst guys who want to actually move up in the division, and I think it's more of a competitive thing, which is totally okay with, but even just some of the stuff that I went through, with me and Brandon, me and Andre, me and some of the other guys, is kind of like I had to take myself out of those situations because I was just putting my energy into places where it just didn't make sense. You know what I mean? Don't nobody pay for my house. Don't nobody pay for my car. Don't nobody. So I'm going back and forth with grown men who don't do nothing for me but give me a headache. So I had to learn that, and JM did try to prep me. JM and Tyler did try to prep me. in 2021. Be like Ray. Be like Ray. Don't get involved. Don't get involved. You know, but it's like, you know, it's hard because of my background and where I come from. You know what I mean? So I've tried, but you know, I had to learn my own lessons, and I had to grow as a man. And you know, and now, I mean, bro, like I said, I don't give a damn what you say about me. It's not bothering me. I'm not even putting my energy towards it. You know, I'm at peace. I'm got some businesses I'm starting up. I'm good, man. I'm happy. I'm at peace. Like I'm really at peace. Like I don't worry about nothing. So
Tell
I
us
just
about some of the businesses. Tell us some of more of the ventures. I mean, again, you've experienced such an elevated profile now, obviously because of bodybuilding, because of your pursuits, your championships in the men's physique. How has this helped elevate your brand to the status where now again you're able to launch businesses? You just put out your own logo.
yeah.
How has this benefited you, Erin Banks, the businessman? And again, has this maybe refueled some of your desires to go back into the fashion in terms of maybe marrying that with the
Yeah.
bodybuilding world and everything that we
And
have here?
that right there is the main thing, is business wise, is getting back into fashion. Of course, I'm revamping my clothing line. I still got clients that I used to work with back in the day. It was like, bro, you posting a whole lot of fashion stuff. You coming back to the world? You coming back to the world? I'm like, like I want to, but the lifestyle just
Nah,
doesn't
yeah.
add up. You know what I mean? So I've been around a lot of my old buddies, man, that I kind of was in the fashion world with, and it's it's what I really love to do. And I'm happy and I'm grateful that the IFBB, this platform of being a bodybuilder, it's given me a different light and a better light to actually pursue it better than I pursued it back when I was pursuing it. So you know, it's given me the platform, and I'm truly grateful for it. And you know, it's I'm just embracing it all. And I do have a project that I'm launching. I really can't say too much about
Okay.
it, but when it launches, it is going to be very impactful, because it's not just for bodybuilding. It's for your mom. It's for your grandparents. It's for your kids. It's for your teenager. It's for everybody. So you can't be like, well, oh, he's just doing this for bodybuilding. No, it's for everybody. So and it's definitely it's in the health area. So
Mhm.
um we're I'm excited about it, man. And it literally happened right after the Dubai Pro, and the opportunity presented itself, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready, business wise, to take on a little bit more of that hat of being an entrepreneur, and just you know, having mentors like Jay Cutler, man. And he's
Yes.
just been one of the best mentors, man. And
Tell us about that. I know you were on the podcast with Jay last year. Tell us about the relationship that you've developed with Jay Cutler and what kind of an impact he's had on you.
Jay is like a big brother, like, and he's a big brother to everybody. He's just one of those guys that's very genuine, very loving when it comes to the people that he's involved with. You know, I met him, what was it, 2000? I think it was like 2021 or 2022, the beginning of it. And you know, uh, just my personality, he just kind of like was drawn to me, and literally our stories, even like when I had lost in 2023, like of course we were part of the trifecta at the time, and
Yeah.
I went to the trifecta booth. He was like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, you'll be back. And when I won the Dubai Pro, of course, got that text and got that phone call. He's like, I love a comeback story. I just love a comeback, you know. So you know, he's just been so damn supportive, and our relationship is, I can call him, and any time that I need him, he's down to help me do anything. And even when I was so as you guys can see, I do not have glasses on right now. So I got LASIX 2 weeks ago,
Nice.
and
Best
so I
decision you've ever made.
literally, bro, I'm like, what? This is what the world looks like.
I got
But
it. I got it done about a decade ago, and I remember waking up in the middle of the night and being able to see the time across the room, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is a
let me
complete
see.
game changer."
So I had text Jay, right? I said, I'm getting LASIK. The guys in the office like really love you, bro. And he was like, I'm out walking the dogs right now, but man, LASIK I got back in 2007. And he sent me this picture.
Oh, nice, nice.
I said, man, you're crazy. But you know, he's super supportive, you know, and when he invited me to do his podcast, that was a moment in my life where like I knew he was one of those real ones and not just someone who takes advantage or wants something back from you. He, like I said, he's a very genuine dude, and I've taken so much from him business wise.
Yeah.
And when he told me, he was like, "Man, my first big check, I bought my house," you know, and
Yep.
that's what kind of catapulted me to starting a business with, because I'm not, to be honest, I'm not going to buy a home in California. I'm just not. I'll invest it in Texas or Atlanta or somewhere like that, but I'm not going to buy a home in California. That's just not, that's doesn't make sense for me. It make sense for somebody else, but it would be kind of stupid. But um like real estate wise, but that's why I was like, you know what? Let me start this business. Let me put my money where it is, where it's going to make me money, and just go for it, you know. And I did start investing in triplexes. So doing that, doing the whole fashion stuff. I got this other project that I'm about to launch very soon. So you know, it's just been a eventful year already. So, and we just gotta finish it out strong. And again, in couple weeks we're back in Las Vegas and tearing up the stage at the 60th.
No bigger platform to hopefully get back what would be your second Olympia title. We're going to finish this off with a couple of quick hitters. Again, so appreciative of you giving us your time 5 weeks out from the Olympia. And I'm glad we're doing this now, because if we were doing this in
Yeah.
about 3 weeks, I think this would have been a lot shorter of an interview. But
Well,
okay, quick
it's
hitters.
right after my favorite meal, so I got the breakfast in, so you got the energy.
I got prime Erin Banks.
Yes.
Aside from Erin Banks, who is your favorite, or rather, who has the favorite physique of yours in the men's physique division?
I've never said this.
Oh, here we go.
I've never said this, but I'm a changed person. First, I let me just start this with the story first.
Here we go.
And I'm gonna say Brandon Hendrickson has always been my favorite men's physique like frame. He was my posing coach in the very beginning when I went pro at USA Championships in Vegas. And we had a relationship, you know what I mean? But you know, whatever happened, it happened. It was what it was. But at the end of the day, like he's not a 3-time for no reason. Like he has a that Brandon would probably be my second best physique in men's physique.
Your favorite physique in the men's open class? Current.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been talking about this man for a while since the Arnold UK. Hottie, oh my god, Hottie's true man. When I say that dude's body is out of this world, Hottie is a physique, man, that I just gravitate towards. The 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 maturity, the dense, the the size, his back, like the hardness. It's nothing that I've seen before. Like, and when I saw it in person at the like literally front row
Yeah.
at the Arnold UK, it's gonna be a battle this year between him and Derek. Like it's going to be, and Hottie's not playing. Hottie does, and Hottie got that mindset and that mentality that I don't give a damn if you my teammate, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Like Hottie's just that guy, man, and I just love his physique, man. He has a great one.
In the classic physique division, who has the best chance of dethroning Chris Bumstead?
No one.
Mm.
It's not possible. It's not. Respectfully, respect to all those guys, but Chris ain't losing. This is just not happening.
Last one. If there was one thing you would like to see different about the men's physique division, and it could be anything, it could be some element of judging, presentation, something about your fellow competitors, one thing, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Can we get like 5 things? Sheesh. I would like the Mr. Olympia to be just 30 athletes. Like 30 athletes, not 68.
The men's physique class.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Bro, we have way too many athletes that compete at the Mr. Olympia. And to me, I'm gonna be honest, and I hate to be that bad guy, but it's so pointless for you to say that you lose money every year, but fly in all these athletes like it's preschool. They go from preschool from 6 a.m. when they wake up and start getting ready for the show, and they leave at 11 because they don't go to the night show. But you're flying all these athletes in and paying for hotels, paying for this, paying for that. There shouldn't be that many athletes going into the Mr. Olympia. When you're saying it's the most prestigious show in the world, make it that, not a freaking a pool of everybody that just could win a show. Anybody can go win a pro show nowadays. There's so many pro shows. I just think it needs to be 30. 30. That's it.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of, from the athlete perspective, that, and again, maybe there might be some sort of a change, maybe there won't, but at least there's a conversation behind it now. So to hear that from you, obviously that, goes a long way. So, you
gotta understand, we as athletes, like, they consider us professionals, right?
Yes.
But you want to have a professional prep their life and prep for 20 weeks for us all to get on stage for 10 minutes and to have to wait for 68 guys to do a presentation and for us to stay full, stay tight, stay come on. Like,
no, I've always been, look, one of the decisions that was made, and I think it was made a couple of years ago, and that was to scrap the point system. To me, that was a very positive move, because I've always felt that the Mr. Olympia and all the Olympia divisions should be the best of the best of the best, right? That the point system, now granted, again, even if we're talking about only a few athletes that are, I guess, omitted from competing at the Olympia because of it, again, there is the purity that you had to win a pro show in order to compete. Now, again, that in a basis at least gets you to the point where it's only a tournament of champions at the Olympia. Now, what you're saying, I guess, again, that's a totally different conversation, but I respect the perspective that, again, if you're talking about the best of the best of the best, and we're talking about, again, theoretically 68 athletes, are we really talking about the best of the best of the best? Again,
no, because there's amateurs who can beat some of these 68 athletes. That's not the best of the best. The best of the best is literally, I would say, top 15, to be honest. That could kind of move and maneuver around in those top areas. But to have 68 guys compete, I get it. It's business. I get it. But you only see why certain shows, like, look, take the Dubai Pro, for instance. You know how many guys going to sign up next year for that show?
Oh, yeah. That's
you wonder why.
Yeah. No,
because if you're going to a top tier show that's paying $40,000 that people don't even consider a Mr. Olympia or Arnold Classic, come on.
Well, also the other thing about Dubai, again, given not only the proximity to key areas of the world, but regions of the world, rather, you're talking about a country that's very visa friendly. So you're going to have a lot of athletes that are not going to have other opportunities to come in. Look at the prime example Behruz Tabani,
Oh
who, I
yeah,
mean, again, who's been in purgatory as far as visa for 2 years now. He's 3-time qualified for the Olympia, and yet he cannot get a
can't.
visa. And right now, from the last that I'm hearing, it doesn't look good for him to make it this year either. But again, he was Olympia qualified. He had to compete at the Dubai because, again, just knowing that there was a big paycheck waiting there and that there was a likelihood of him not being able to compete at the Olympics. So I think you're going to have a lot a lot of Iranian athletes, competed. A lot of Middle Eastern men's physique competitors. The division's very popular. One last one, big thing we were talking about Dubai. What was the reception for you there? Obviously, we heard the loud roar from the 4,000 fans when your name was called and you walked out onto the stage. But talked about like the interactions that you had and sort of memories that you collected being in Dubai with that fan base.
Man, when I tell you I've never been treated like a king in my life, like it was just over the top, like the love, the hospitality of the people. Like it was such an amazing experience. And just from going to let me pull it up, the freaking the Abasquash jungle where I walked the tiger, bro. Like, end up meeting him, meet the owner of it. Something you just have to experience for yourself. I mean, you got lions, these exotic bears, giraffes, just walking freely, bro. Like it's crazy. Like so when I experienced it, it was like, wow, this is mad love. And the prices that you have to pay to even enter that jungle, and nor even just walk a tiger, how much it is for them to treat me with love and say, hey bro, you're and this is what I do want to say versus USA versus traveling to countries, not even just going to Dubai, but just Brazil, Mexico, blah, blah, like anywhere. We have so much more respect in other countries than we do in our own. Like it should not be like that, but unfortunately it is. But back to Dubai, like, man, I'm talking about they were giving me keys to Ferraris. Bro, test drive this one, test drive that one. What food you want? We got it. Food. Oh, you want brand new shoes? We'll send you 2 shoes right now. Send me 2 shoes. Or you want to go shopping? We can get you whatever you want. Bro, I've never felt that type of love ever. Like it was just over the top.
And then again, I
they're asking me so they wanted me to go to the Binance Classic. They were like, bro, we're flying you out. We'll have Bugatti's waiting for you at the airport. I'm like, oh my what? God. Bro, I'm y'all lucky I'm 5 weeks away from the freaking Mr. Olympia because I would be there. But there was already got a guy right now that was like, bro, after the Olympia, send me 2 different dates. We're gonna fly you back out here and we're gonna network, we're gonna do certain things, we're gonna start building business. I said, I can't even like the information they're giving me, I can't even like process it because it's
and you can't and you can't turn that down either.
That's a lot, and I'm definitely not turning that down. Absolutely not. So that's the thing, is like when you and it's like I hate this whole you're a celebrity thing. I don't consider myself that. But in Dubai, like even talking to the head police sergeant, he was like, when you come back, we're going to give you a 10-year gold visa. We're going to like your celebrity status. So we're going to give you I'm like, bro, like crazy. What is this? Like, this is not real, but bro, it's reality there. It's reality there. I went to the biggest mall in the world, bro. Let me tell you, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. and I didn't even get to nowhere near all the stores. No, I was in that mall for 12 hours, shopping, eating, experiencing. There's a freaking aquarium in it. Like, bro, like there's no way. And then I'm looking for stuff for my kids. There's so many different. Dubai is blessed. Dubai is blessed, and God has made that place a beautiful place to if you have it, just go experience. Even if you don't, save it and experience it. I can't even say anything less, because even in Dubai, bro, meeting some of the guys, even the other Middle Eastern guys, they were like, and that's when I say, like, when I want to go to Qatar, Saudi, in any of those places, Abu Dhabi, I have contacts in my phone that they said, give me your phone. I'm going to put this, blah, blah, blah. Do not pay for a flight. We're going to fly you out. I'm like, this ain't real.
I
This
know,
ain't
that's
real. And,
amazing.
you know, my girl looking at me like, I don't know if that's real. I'm like, these people are real, because I would talk to, of course, like the photographer I was with. His name is Kareem. He was kind of like the navigator for everybody who wanted to kind of meet me and kind of do certain things with me, from car rentals to whatever, the jungle. He was like, no, these people are serious about you. Like they really love you out here. And I'm like,
Well,
wow.
no, the Middle East, right? I mean, Dubai, Qatar, and now Saudi. Look, Saudi's becoming sort of that next hub as far as like,
Yeah,
you know, MMA events, bodybuilding events. But as is Dubai, as is Abu Dhabi. But in their culture, they see bodybuilders as men, as warriors, right? I mean,
yeah,
look, you saw it firsthand. And like I said, the show, the Dubai Pro. I mean, first of
amazing,
all, the production quality, I mean, world class. But then
insane.
the when you were announced onto the stage, I mean, you know, when I say 4,000 fans, I say that casually, but there are 4,000 fans that will be there sitting there on their phones. Then there are 4,000 fans that are, I mean, are cheering every single athlete of every single division. I've never
Yeah,
seen anything else. Sean Ray and I were on the play-by-play on the live stream, and every time I would look back, I'm like, it just seemed that the wall of people just seemed to grow. And then Badr Buddha was telling me that next year they're going to expand it even more. It's going to be even more fans in
yeah.
attendance. I was blown away. I've never seen an environment like how you would have like at a basketball game where people are cheering raucously,
That's
but for
exactly
bodybuilders,
how I was
yeah.
explaining it. That's how exactly I was explaining it to people. Like, bro, you have to understand this. Yeah, we go to shows and it's just flat. No, this was like a stadium where the bleachers like went all the way up. Like it was a big arena. Like it was literally like we were playing at like a Madison Square Garden, like literally. And I'm like, the production was over the top, and like I said, man, just from everybody there, and even like I said, the crowd, when I heard it, you know, when I walked out, it kind of shocked me, based off of just even certain events that happened previously in the beginning of the year, and me just getting back on my feet and me having that return. It was just so much mad love, man. When I when I literally heard everybody like, wow, this is big. This is big. This is big. So I'm just so grateful, man, to one, have that support from that area of the world. You know, that's different. That is different. And when I had posted some of the pictures and stuff like that, like even people in Fresno, they're like, bro, we're gonna just call you Mr. International, because you're doing things that a lot of people are not doing, you know. So, you know, I take everything to heart, and I do love the support that I'm getting in the bodybuilding community, even back here at home, and just even around the world. I mean, my main thing is not to have people like me, but to just understand and relate to my story, if you would, you know. And I know I relate to a lot of people. I know a lot of people didn't grow up super rich. I didn't grow up super rich. I don't act like that, or you know what I mean. So I do have a story behind why I am how I am. And I think once you really get to know me and understand how I move and why I move certain ways, you would have a more of an appreciation of what I'm about.
Well, I can say this on behalf of bodybuilding fans. This has been quite the ride. It's been quite the journey. And when I look at how much you've accomplished over the course of 5 years, 6 years,
I,
I mean, you literally
this
got
is
in the
literally
gym
this is literally
and yeah,
5 years, going on 5 years.
it's
This would be my
crazy to
fourth
think.
Olympia.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You started working out essentially in 2018,
Yeah.
to the point now where you are 5 weeks away from trying to reclaim the top title in the world of the men's
Yeah.
physique division, a title that you won just a year and a half ago. But it's
Crazy.
been quite the ride, quite the journey, quite the story. And, you know, this is why we do this, right? This is why we want to try to get these stories out, because, again, there is such a complex story behind you, behind your background, behind the fact that you had an upbringing from humble beginnings, the fact
Yeah.
that you have transformed yourself into not only, someone that took the lessons from childhood and applied it to fatherhood, to your pursuits in bodybuilding, but incorporated everything that you learned, on the football field, on the track field, and the basketball court. This is what it's all about. You took the fashion flair, combine it with your creativity. That's what we
Yeah.
see in your presentation on that men's physique stage. And again, that's to me what makes this sport, this division exciting, is that everybody's got a story, right?
Yep.
Everybody's got something unique when their name is called onto the stage. It's not just men's physique competitor. It's Erin Banks from Fresno, California, who has a story to tell,
Right.
and is carrying that with him. That $1 million smile, that big pose, that big frame. But again, there's a story behind it that came about over different chapters. So I'm glad
Absolutely.
we were able to get you on, to get you to share your story, and educate the audience, right? That, no matter where you came from, no matter what your circumstances, you work hard, you build your soul towards something, anything is possible.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you guys, and even me and you, our relationship, we've always been solid. So I do really appreciate you reaching out and having me on the platform, man.
Absolutely. Erin Banks, 2024 Iron Road to the Olympia. Thank you so much for joining. Good luck in 5 weeks.
Thank you.